even. Ik kan heel de TU uitnodigen. Jij had er alleen, hè?
Ja, maar zij was zonder mij iets te zeggen.
Ja, dat moet ze ook niet doen.
Nee, want ik zei ook al, hoe je dat probeert. Ja, dat je die zo.
Kijk eens aan, mevrouw. Ik kreeg net een telefoontje van mijn collega dat een professor stond bij de toga-kamer en die kon niet naar binnen. Weet jij hoe dat werkt? Als je niet naar binnen kan? Nee, voor nu. Dus die moeten dan een toga...
Dat kan je mij zeggen.
Ja,
ik ben
nee,
natuurlijk hier, hè?
dat heb ik ook gezegd. Ik zeg, de wel, die is gewoon de hele dag, die loopt heel erg rond. Die gaat dan niet de hele dag zitten natuurlijk.
Nee, maar
Maar
als ik doorkrijg, dan moet iemand het doorrijden. Hè? Of ik hoor het van Maartje Mulder.
Maar kunnen zij, ja, maar Maartje weet dat toch ook, dat er dan ceremonies zijn en dat er toga's opgehaald moeten zijn.
Maar ik heb het
Maar
niet
ik heb nou,
Het is voor mij
ik geef daar nooit aan. Ik geef daar nooit, dat komt altijd goed. Ja, ik heb nou aan mijn collega gevraagd of ze even naar promoties wil
bij
bellen.
promoties is er ook wel eens leuk.
Dankjewel.
Dear students, dear relatives, and other supporters of the students, dear colleagues. My name is Mark van den Brand, and I'm Program Director of the Computer Science and Engineering Master Program. It is a pleasure to welcome you and the candidates for this graduation event. I am happy that we can celebrate this event together on our campus. As a department, we are proud of the fact that today these students have received the degree of Master of Science. This has been the result of hard work under sometimes difficult conditions due to the COVID-19 pandemic. We offer these students a rich variety of high-level courses given by excellent teachers and a challenging graduation project. These ingredients have prepared all these graduates well for their future career. Candidates, I sincerely hope that you enjoyed our university and our challenging educational program. The examination committee for CSE has assessed the work of the following candidates: Daniel Verloop, Alina Vorobiova, Maurice Wimmer, Nimo Beren, Leonardo Maton, Cosmin Poppa, Erik Takke, Gergely Zakalas, Bram van der Pol, Ruben Heek, Rick Maas, Alex Odeychuk. Dear candidates, you all have passed your examination and therefore you will be conferred your degree for the Master Computer Science and Engineering. This degree entitles you to use the titles Master of Science and Engineer. Our program highly values personal contact between lecturers and students. Therefore, I now invite our students to come forward one by one to be congratulated personally by your graduation supervisor. And therefore, I would like to call forward Daniel. Congratulations. Nee, je mag even blijven staan. Beste Daniel, van harte gefeliciteerd met je masterdiploma. Je hebt je afstuderen bij InfoSupport gedaan. De vraag die InfoSupport had, was gerelateerd aan testen en met name aan integratietesten. Testen is kostbaar en integratietesten zijn zeer arbeidsintensief. Dat wil zeggen dat het behoorlijk wat tijd van ontwikkelaars kost om deze tests te ontwikkelen. Daarbij is voor goede integratietesten vaak behoorlijk wat domeinkennis nodig. Dit betekent dat domeinexperts samen met ontwikkelaars de testen moeten ontwikkelen. Dit probleem vormde de basis voor een onderzoek waarbij jij gekeken hebt of er een framework bestond dat de domeinexperts in staat stelde om in natuurlijke taal testen op te stellen en deze automatisch te vertalen in code die de test uitvoerde. Je hebt naar een voorstudie gekozen voor Gherkin, een framework dat gebaseerd was op natuurlijke taal. Dit framework was door anderen al gebruikt voor integratietesten. Je hebt het framework uitgebreid, waarbij je onder meer gebruik gemaakt hebt van klassenhiërarchieën om betere testcode te genereren. En je hebt de NLP, de Natural Language Processing, verbeterd, zodat er een betere link gemaakt kon worden tussen de broncode en de geformuleerde zinnen door de domeinexperts. Je hebt daarbij ook naar de bestaande unit-tests gekeken, zodat het geheel nog beter werd. Het geheel heb je met behulp van een aantal Java-projecten getest en jouw aanpak is nauwkeuriger dan de bestaande aanpakken uit de literatuur. Je hebt in dit project zelfstandig gewerkt. Onze meetings waren door omstandigheden, ik heb net al COVID genoemd, eigenlijk allemaal online. En behalve je afstudeerpresentatie was eigenlijk de eerste keer dat we elkaar fysiek weer zagen. Ondanks de online meetings wist je de vaart in je afstuderen te houden. Je bent een enthousiast en harde werker Je was altijd goed voorbereid op onze voortgangsbesprekingen. En, waar ik heel blij om ben, na je eindpresentatie heb je de tijd genomen om je scriptie om te zetten in een artikel wat gesubmit is naar een conferentie. Ten slotte wil ik Rins van Hees van Insource Support bedanken voor de opdracht en de medebegeleiding en je nogmaals feliciteren met je behaalde diploma, ook voor familie en vrienden. En dan als laatste.
Dear Alina, first of all, congratulations with your diploma and for this fantastic performance of getting cum laude. You can be really proud. And I would have loved to be there and hand out the diploma myself and be able to chat with you, but unfortunately it cannot be. Your project is related to the efficiency of Schiphol, which has been unfortunately actually in the news in the last few months. You were working with a company that is actually trying to monitor or be able to identify what are the different actions that are happening at Schiphol when the planes are parking, and they do that through video footage. And they have developed some model, machine learning model, that tries to identify these different actions that are taking place. Your role was not to develop the model, but actually to develop visual analytics techniques that help understanding what the model is doing, and with the purpose to actually help the data analyst and the engineers develop better models. This is a rather complex problem because you have to understand multiple aspects. It's very multidisciplinary, so you have to really understand well all the technology behind the models, but at the same time identify and find out what is relevant and what is a good way to communicate through visualization and interaction. You did this fantastically, and actually they were able to have multiple insights and fundings that allowed to identify weak points of the model and ways to actually improve it. So that was very good. You like it so much at Schiphol that actually you are having a position there and you are going on your career there, and I hope everything is going great and you are having a great time, and we will still be in contact at some points on your developments. You are a very hardworking person, so in our meetings was always a pleasure to see how well you receive our feedback, and actually at the next meeting all what we were discussing was implemented, done, and also much more was also already there. This is also even more important given your personal situation of your family and your home country, which I think you deal with it incredibly well. So I just want to congratulate you once more, and I wish you all the best for the future in your career and also personally and with your family. So best regards and see you.
Beste Maurice, Het is mij een eer en genoegen om hier te staan en je te mogen feliciteren met het behalen van je mastergraad, titel van een ingenieur en zelfs een cum laude. Dit verhaal is eigenlijk begonnen op 1 september 2021, of 7 september, sorry, exact 14 maanden en 14 dagen geleden. Toen u mij een mail stuurde dat een van de onderwerpen dat ik op de website aangekondigd heb, je aandacht trok en dat je geïnteresseerd was om samen met ASML naar hun logs te gaan kijken en zien hoe we ASML kunnen helpen met het verhelpen van de storingen. Het probleem met de ASML-machines is namelijk dat ze heel erg complex zijn. Er zijn allerlei hardware-gerelateerde processen en allerlei software-gerelateerde processen die idealiter synchroon horen te verlopen. Echter gebeurt het natuurlijk niet altijd. En als dat uit sync loopt, dan moet eigenlijk hardware wachten op software. En dat betekent dat hardware eigenlijk weinig nuttigs doet. En voor ASML betekent het verlies van prestaties, verlies van geld enzovoort enzovoort. En dat is exact het probleem dat Maurice bekeken heeft in zijn afstudeerwerk. Het is natuurlijk een probleem dat voor ASML ontzettend belangrijk is. Dus er waren er meerdere studenten die iets mee probeerden te doen. Maar het was eigenlijk ging het altijd fout. De voorspellingen waren niet nauwkeurig genoeg. Het schaalde niet goed genoeg enzovoort. En je hebt eigenlijk het probleem zo ongeveer opgelost. Door die anders te herformuleren en door andere technieken te gebruiken, in het bijzonder andere deep learning architectuur te gebruiken, dat je voorgangers niet gedaan hebben. In heel veel opzichten was je eigenlijk een ideale afstudeerder. Je stelde vragen wanneer het een goed idee was en je werkte op een heel erg zelfstandige manier als je mijn hulp niet nodig had. Je had altijd een juiste evenwicht tussen de wensen van verschillende begeleiders. Dus naast mij had je natuurlijk Steven Schwanz-Diaz van data mining en 2 begeleiders uit de hand van ASML. Dus er waren 4 mensen met allerlei uiteenlopende ideeën. Dat is zeker niet evident om ons allemaal in dezelfde richting te sturen. En op het einde van de rit heb je een oplossing kunnen bedenken dat ASML dermate onder de indruk stelde dat ze je onmiddellijk een baan hebben aangeboden. En we kijken natuurlijk naar uit naar de mogelijkheden om het verhaal nog ergens te publiceren als een wetenschappelijke publicatie. Maurice, nog een keer gefeliciteerd. Het was mij eer en genoegen. Klaar?
Nimo.
Hi, Nimo. First of all, congratulations with the earning of your master's degree. You're now an engineer. I'd like to say a few words, kind of retrospective on our time together. So I was looking fondly back over the past 1 year plus, over the last days, thinking about our work together, which started way back when with designing a visual tool for property graph schema extraction and refinement, an expert study in your Capita Selecta. And we see that even then, a year ago or more, some of the same key phrases are popping through here in the thesis which you recently defended. Right? So in that earlier work, you interviewed experts from companies like Google, LinkedIn, Uber, and others on their dreams and aspirations for tools for reasoning about the structure of graph collections, right? Leading to clear and actionable design requirements, which in the end you manifested in a very nice user interface design that you put forward to the experts. So what is this graph structure data collections all about? Well, graph databases are increasingly receiving attention from industry and academia, due in part to the ubiquity of graph-structured information in many applications. Think of social networks, transportation networks, communication networks, mobility networks, crime networks, fraud networks, financial networks, right? So there are many situations where the focus is on the long-distance relationships between things, right? And also, as well as just the flexibility of graph-structured data management systems, right? So in the agile world of graph data analytics, schema, so this is structure which describes the content of the collection in a more succinct form, typically comes later, or last, actually, right? Yet, as we know from over a half a century of data systems research, schemas can significantly benefit query optimization, data integrity, documentation, user interfaces, and explanation to casual users, among many other practical aspects of making value from data. So continuing in this theme of schemas, in your thesis work, you developed a formal framework for schema design, consolidating and extending the current state of the art, both in the scientific literature and also in industrial solutions. And you also experimentally demonstrated the practical viability of your framework within current industrial systems. Now, this work has led to a submitted paper, which we've written recently towards a scientific publication in a leading data engineering conference. And furthermore, all of your work is put out there into the community as open source towards open science. So Nemo, having worked together for a longer period than is typical, I've watched you struggle and I've watched you overcome both academic and personal challenges, and along the way growing as an engineer and as a scientist. That you undertook your master's studies, already an experience which pushes students to their limits, but now during the tumultuous times of this pandemic that we have lived through and are living through, that only intensified and pressurized this experience. You showed yourself in this work and in this time to be smart, dedicated, resilient, and a very deliberate person, always friendly and always taking your own path forward. I think you'll recognize what I mean by this. So I've enjoyed every single day and part of our collaborations very much, Nemo. And I wish you all the best in the paths that remain ahead for you. Congratulations. So, you get a hoodie.
Leonardo Maton.
So hi, Leonardo. I'm standing here today on behalf of myself and also your co-supervisor, Daphne, who unfortunately was unavailable today. She couldn't make it to campus. She's at home resting. And so on behalf of both of us, I congratulate you on your master's degree, well earned, and earned cum laude. So in your graduation work, it's a very nice picture of you. You focused on technologies to improve data systems education. Right? So in your thesis, increasing awareness of SQL anti-patterns for novices resulted in SQL Eyes, a tool for analyzing SQL queries for common anti-patterns, and also with a very nice GUI, an application, in addition to the CLI tool. So what is the SQL we're speaking of here? So it's just the most common language for interacting with large data collections. So I checked last week, I'm teaching the Introduction to Database course, and every year I check what are the stats. And currently in the popularity and penetration rankings, over 70% of current data systems in practice use SQL. And furthermore, in the most recent IEEE survey on practitioners, this showed that SQL was the #1 programming language used across all of contemporary work in computer science and data science. So your work has the potential for quite some broad-ranging impact. So given this, ubiquity, there are still various barriers to learning SQL, and this has been shown in prior work. And this often leads to SQL users writing broken code, erroneous queries. And this can lead to so-called anti-patterns, or code smells, that harm software quality. Anti-patterns also influence education because students can use anti-patterns without realizing them, and they're harmful because they make the resulting program or statement inefficient, harder to maintain, easier to misread. So in your work, Leonardo, you directly attacked this by developing a novel detection method for anti-patterns in SQL and made it available through SQL Eyes. You also conducted a user study with students to see if your solutions actually help novices learn, fix, and avoid writing edit patterns. And this study showed that indeed your toolkit provides a novel way of learning and understanding edit patterns, and that students could recognize and resolve edit patterns from a given query after experience with your solution. And so this shows, well, in the end, your results were of such high quality that we went for a submission to ICER 2022, and it was accepted, which is a leading conference in computer science education research. And you fully released all of your work into the open source world. So Leonardo, working with you was always a real pleasure. You're always very positive, there's a smile on your face. You're very driven. You always came with solutions to the problems that you also brought. So you're always thinking ahead. And you're always collaborative, and the spirit of yours shine through in all of our communications. And so it's no surprise that after your excellent work in the MS program that you are graduating cum laude. So on behalf of Daphne and myself, I wish you all the best in your next steps as an engineer. And please do keep in touch and let us know about your next adventures. Thanks, Leonardo.
Then I would like to ask Cosmin to come forward.
Okay, so basically I should say that I have already had like 10 master students, but this is the first time I'm attending this ceremony because of the pandemic and because I was traveling and all these crazy things. But anyway, Cosmin, you were interested in working on engineering topics, and I gave you a few topics, but I was hoping that among them you chose basically the video summarization topic that I really liked the most. And I was very interested in working on this topic, but I never essentially know anything about it, so I was a little bit also skeptical about it. And you decided to work on this topic in the beginning, you and my PhD student, Leila, and had to read many papers, and we discussed many hours and how we can basically solve the problem. And after a while, we had idea how to proceed, and then, Cosmin, you did a lot of work and experiments and also nice ideas, and then based on these experiments and the ideas, we basically came up with a very interesting idea to improve the state of the art in the video summarization. And then later, you told me that you got the job in Booking.com, so I was really happy that you basically working in Booking.com at Booking.com, basically in Amsterdam. So I was very happy working with you. I wish you all the best in your industrial journey.
Erik Takke, please come forward.
Great picture. So, Eric, first of all, loyal to the on-brand, the university gave me a protocol that I'm supposed to follow, which starts by handing you the diploma and congratulating you. Congratulations. Thank you. I can check that. And then it also told me that I'm supposed to find an anecdote. And I was trying to think if I have an anecdote that I can tell. And then I realized that so working with Eric doesn't provide anecdotes. It provides something that I find much better. It provides structure. So Eric contacted me about 11 months before we started working together, just to make sure that he has a spot working with, well, having a topic. And then I looked at my emails, and then it was 3 months before we started, no, 5 months that we submitted all the forms. So everything is very structured. And thinking of this, I realized that Eric possesses two qualities that would help you and also bring you grief in life. First of all, Eric, you're brilliant. I don't know if anyone has ever told you that to your face, but you're smart even among the smarts. But any professor here would tell you that at some point being smart isn't enough. You are also tenaciously self-disciplined. So this story about contacting well in advance, you made sure that we have weekly meetings, that they have an agenda. You sent me weekly reports. That's a level of self-discipline that I'm really not used to from students. And so the work you have done is brilliant. We have submitted it to Eurocrypt, which is one of the leading conferences in cryptography. But I think it is these two qualities that I mentioned that for which you are receiving your degree cum laude. It was a pleasure and an honor working with you, and I'm excited to see what's next in your life. I'm sure it's going to be great. Congratulations, kid.
All right. Then Gregory.
Dear Gregory, so, well, you came to me, tried to do a master project, and together with Martin and Emanuela, we had been thinking about this problem, which was on the cyber-physical reconnaissance, right? But we didn't quite have an idea yet what exactly it should be. So, but you came to our security group and came to work with us, right? Well, what is this cyber-physical reconnaissance? Well, if you have cyber-physical systems, or CPS, right, then entities have both a digital and a physical presence, right? For example, in building automation systems, you have the lights and the controllers, the presence sensors. They all have also a digital version of it that is used on the BACnet network to communicate online. Now, special about securing these CPS systems is that, well, digital attacks could have a physical impact. For example, you could have a ransomware that's locking all the doors in the hotel, right? But also the other way around, right? Because of these physical aspects that the system has, they might provide information for actually attacking the digital system. So think of side channel attacks on smart card, for example. So to effectively make use of such links, right, the attacker has to be able to link this digital world and the physical world, bring them together, know what in the physical world belongs to what in the digital world. And that's where this cyber-physical reconnaissance comes in, right, creating this link. Okay. This is also where you came in, right? And we've been monitoring this main building that you might have walked across, right? It's on the picture. We've been monitoring digitally, right? So we know what's going on in the building automation system. And we had this sort of vague idea of thinking, well, what's actually the security impact of adding physical observations to that? And, well, with this very vague question in mind, right, you worked this out. It was a challenging task, and it wasn't easy to come to the exact question that was actually being answered. What was the scope and scoping? But you managed to do that, right, and created this mapping of, you know, what lights, for example, belong to which objects in the BACnet addresses, where in the building are they, allowing you to, for example, track somebody who's walking through the building, but now using only the digital information. Okay. Well, coming back to our meetings that we had on this, right? The first thing we noticed about you was that, well, you like to talk, or at least you're very good at it, right? So, I mean, if we let you, right, you could spend the whole meeting just talking about the details, the ins and outs of what you've been working on. So now sometimes we have to reel you in and try to get the word in ourselves as well. The next thing that we noticed, right, is that you're very efficient and in identifying problems and solving them, right? And there were plenty of those to address, right? From just arranging for the collection of the physical data itself, right? Making sure that you can take the pictures of the main building, be able to see when the lights are on, when they're going off. Getting to know the digital system as well, and doing this while the operators were actually on holidays, right? So for that, you had to collaborate with lots of people, also from other departments, to be able to gather this information. And but you were very good at that, and you always managed that efficiently. And you had some interesting results there. Well, for example, noticing that there is actually a time delay between when the physical event happens and when it's actually reported on the network. And this is something that even the operators of the building operation of the system here that weren't aware of. They have to, talk to the manufacturers about, well, how is that actually? So, really interesting observations. You're also very efficient in rounding off your project, right? For example, the artifact repository that you made, where you shared with us the data that you collected, that's really well organized. It would be very nice if all the work that was finished off, right, was organized that well. And you also managed to write this report very quickly, right? And you stuck to these very strict deadlines that you were self-imposed, right? Just to be able to be here today, right? And, well, here we are. You made it. And basically, well, all that leaves then is for me to congratulate you again on this work, nicely done, your well done work, sorry. Congratulations.
Beste Bram, gefeliciteerd met je mastergraad. Wij hebben iets langer dan een jaar geleden jij hebt ons benaderd bij Canon Production Printing om ook bij ons een master afstudeerproject te beginnen. En je was geïnteresseerd geraakt door de model-based development en model-driven engineering opdrachten die er op de website stonden. En er stonden nog een aantal van open. Daar hebben we een open gesprek over gehad welke dat voor jou het meest interessant leek. En achteraf gezien denk ik dat een algemene component in het type printsystemen wat we aan het maken zijn en de opdrachten daar rondomheen hadden vooral met productiviteit te maken, met snelheid te maken. En achteraf gezien zie ik een paar zaken die overeenkomen met jouw manier van doen. Namelijk aan de ene kant kun jij ontzettend snel praten. Dus je kunt heel veel informatie overbrengen. En daarnaast heb je ook een bepaalde snelheid in het gedrag wanneer je in de auto zit, zullen we maar zeggen. Maar jouw specifieke opdracht, na wat overleg, ging over een van de type printers die we maken. En dat is een printer waarbij twee carriages, twee koetsen, heen en weer gaan. En die kunnen op verschillende manieren door de printer gaan. Wel van links naar rechts alleen, maar ze kunnen op verschillende manieren met elkaar interactie hebben. En afhankelijk van die interactie, want het ene carriage is aan het printen, die maakt het nat. En het andere carriage die maakt het vel juist weer droog met een bepaalde UV-lamp. En dat betekent dat zodra het vel weer een stapje opschuift, dat je weer bepaalde stappen moet zetten met de carriages om zo een bepaald eindresultaat te krijgen. Nou, jouw opdracht ging er dus over om dat model gebaseerd te maken. Want dat hadden we nu uitgecodeerd in de software. En daar kwamen steeds maar weer nieuwe requirements bij. En dat heb je ook wel gemerkt aan het einde, waren een aantal concepten door elkaar heen gaan lopen. En dat is een van de stappen die je gezet hebt in jouw masters afstuderen, om de embedded software klaar te maken voor model-driven development. Zodat we die kunnen vangen in verschillende modellen, zodat het vrij eenvoudig weer te begrijpen is, wat is het gedrag van het systeem. Dat is iets wat jou zeer interesseerde. Tijdens het eerste gesprek zag je meteen de commitment en de drive ontstaan om ermee aan de gang te gaan. En op dat moment was Mihai was ook al bezig met printtime prediction, dat is een gerelateerd onderwerp. En zijn jullie samen begonnen. Daarnaast zijn Janice en Alexandra nog begonnen. En het laatste moment is Jur ook nog, heb je nog overlap mee gehad. Dus we hebben een gezellig clubje aan studenten gehad, waarin we in ieder geval leuke lunches hebben gehad. En heel veel interessante gesprekken. COVID die raakt op verschillende manieren. Aan het begin hebben we wat minder contact kunnen hebben vanwege de lockdowns. Maar er was nog een ander onderwerp waar jij wat last van hebt gehad. En dat is namelijk dat wij ook een gebrek hadden aan hardware. En dat betekende dat uiteindelijk jij een oude laptop die nog voldoende was, maar voor het specifieke wat jij nodig had, eigenlijk niet meer lekker werkte. En daarom was het ook eigenlijk wel prettig dat de overlap met Mihai niet volledig was. En dat je na een aantal maanden zijn laptop, wat toevallig een nieuwe type was, kon overnemen en daardoor jouw simulaties wat sneller kon laten draaien. Ja, zoals gezegd, je hebt een belangrijke stap gemaakt in het decomponeren van de embedded software componenten, zodat we die op basis van DSL's, Domain Specific Languages, kunnen gaan instrueren. Daar heb je een hele leuke stap in gemaakt en ik heb nu begrepen dat je ook de volgende stap gaat maken en dat je bij VDL aan de slag gaat. En ik hoop dat we in de toekomst elkaar nog tegenkomen hier en daar. Dan bij deze nog het presentje.
Ruben.
Hi, Robin. So Robin took basically the massively parallel algorithm that I gave for the first time last year. And it was lots of reports and exercise and a lot of things. And he and his teammate were the first one who did their experiments and all the, their work. And they were also willing to share their codes with the other people who weren't able to basically to do the coding. And then I was very hoping that Robin take the master project with me because I thought that it would be a very nice journey. And I really liked his personality and the fact that he was really calm person. I mean, I'm not, I would say. In addition, he's extremely good in coding, so I was thinking that it's very fantastic would we basically work together. And that day came where he came to me and he said that I want to take the master project. And I was very happy to basically work with him, and I gave him the project that I worked when I was working for Amazon AI in Silicon Valley, California. And then Robin basically did a fantastic job and working in this basically anomaly detection algorithms in data streams and massive data models. And he came up with a very nice algorithm and experiments. I am, and I was very happy that I worked with him, and our paper is in submission right now to SIGMOD. Hopefully it will be accepted, who knows. And I believe wherever you work, you will be very successful. And thanks for working with us. Congratulations.
Rick?
Hey, Rick. I almost grabbed the wrong diploma there. First of all, congratulations on your master's degree. Hi, Rick. So in your thesis work, here on the screen, a very nice picture there, too. Incremental view maintenance for a symbol by Inago. You tackle the problem of efficiently keeping computations over massive data collections up to date as the data itself is modified. This is also known as incremental view maintenance, a very classic and long-standing issue in data systems engineering. All right, so this is the process of materializing the output of a computation and maintaining this output under updates, right, such that only the effective parts of the output are modified. Your work was doubly challenging in that it was in the context of Enago, a company based in Den Bosch, which specializes in creating planning solutions for organizations in the public, service, and industrial sectors. The core of these solutions is a symbol. It's an application which is developed, maintained, and used at Enago and their employees to define models which compute desired forecasts. Well, before your work, a symbol did not have mechanisms for incremental view maintenance, right? And so in your project, because this is such a classic problem, a challenge, practical challenge at Enago, you investigated whether or not the state-of-the-art algorithm in the scientific literature, known as dynamic Ionococcus, is suitable for facilitating incremental view maintenance for a symbol. So the current version of dynamic Ionococcus in the literature only facilitates query evaluation for a number of particular operators, and moreover, there are lots of missing practical details, right? So therefore, in your work, you extended a dynamic Ionococcus to address these challenges, and then in your further work, you experimentally established the efficiency of your extensions of a dynamic Ionococcus, and in particular compare them to the baseline, a symbol model execution. And as we saw in your work, your solution is significantly more efficient when the update size is small and the total dataset size is big, which is indeed the practical use case we were aiming for. So Rick, you chose a very challenging topic, both from the perspective of scientific work, as well as tackling the additional layers of challenges of putting research into practice, right, in the context of a complex industrial tool. You rose to this challenge. You put in the hard work, hard dedicated work and creativity with successful insights and in the end, successful impact at Enago. I'd like to congratulate you on this excellent work and the pleasure of having worked alongside you, and only hope that I can continue to work with students of your high caliber. So thank you for this. I wish you success in all of your next projects and hope that you'll keep in touch. Thanks again.
And finally, Alex.
Hi, Alex. So first of all, let me congratulate you on the earning of your award and also cum laude. So I'm very happy to see you here today, also with your family. I see in the audience. So welcome and welcome back. So in your thesis, so identifying and visualizing scoping errors, scoping syntax errors in SQL, which was also co-advised, as Leonardo's work was, by Daphne Miedema, who unfortunately couldn't make it today. You focused on adding advanced capabilities to the open source SQL Viz tool towards teaching of SQL query formulation to novices and learners, which is standard. I think all of the folks sitting here before us today have taken a course in SQL, probably with me at some point at their time here on campus. So as I mentioned earlier in the context of Leonardo's work, SQL is a ubiquitous language for data analytics, which is part of every software engineer and data scientist's daily toolkit. So writing SQLs, unfortunately, is not easy, and it requires students to understand not only the semantics, but also the syntactic structures of queries. Right? So as a little programming language, they have to learn how to write correct programs. Syntax errors, however, as we know, have not been studied as closely as the semantic errors that students make. And debugging queries can be problematic as the error messages provided by current systems are often cryptic and just downright unhelpful. And furthermore, incorporating visual elements into error messaging is currently a relatively unexplored terrain in the scientific literature. Now, the original SQL Viz implementation does not and did not handle syntax errors very well at all. So your extension directly tackled this, restoring visualizations for a set of syntax errors, namely scoping and referencing errors, which are very common in the query formulation process. And your visual solution also shows not only the errors, but also your own error messages in many cases, right? Often together with smart suggestions for corrections towards accelerated learning by students and developers. So your work was so impactful that it has led to a paper which we've prepared for peer review in a leading data engineering research conference. And furthermore, your open source repo is being prepared for release and also pushing into the SQLVis ecosystem. Now, reflecting back on the work that you've done, so this wasn't a normal study for you, and if there even is such a thing as normal when it comes to work at the level of a master's degree. But you encountered some unexpected challenges, to say the least. You moved to the Netherlands, set up a new life here, excelling at your schoolwork, and then came the pandemic, as all of us here on the stage were confronted with in the last several years. But then the terrible and unbelievable troubles that befell your family came upon us in this past year. And so I was very happy to see that your family is safely here with us here today. Together with us, not only at your defense, but today, and I wish you and them peace, health, and happiness in the troubling times which are still very much laying ahead of us. So reflecting on your work, you're an excellent engineer, you're an excellent scientist, you're truly independent, very creative, and this is on top of just being sharp, very smart, driven, self-organized, and self-driven. So it's no wonder that you're graduating cum laude. You very much deserve it. So on behalf of Daphne and myself, thank you for the collaboration. It was a real pleasure, and it was really an honor to work together with you, Alex. So please, let's keep in touch, and maybe someday you might be interested in working towards a PhD. Well, until then, please take care, and our best wishes to you and your family. Congratulations.
Then I would like to invite Bart-Jan Henkemans to address the graduates on behalf of GEWIS.
Dear ladies and gentlemen, graduates, family members, friends, and all other attendees. Let me start off by introducing myself. I'm Bart-Jan Henkemans, and I'm the current Educational Officer of Study Association GEWIS, the study association for mathematics and computer science students. Today is a special day. Today, you are all receiving your degree. Around the time most of you were still in diapers, about 22 years ago, or perhaps even a bit earlier, it was quite a special period in computer science. The world of computer science, and perhaps the entire world, was concerned with a special bug called the Y2K bug. I hear some laughing next to me, because most of you have probably heard about this bug in some of your lectures before. The Y2K bug was a bug which promised to crash every system known to man. But luckily, due to the help of some very smart engineers, nothing really broke. And luckily, 22 years later, you are here, ready to solve these problems. Perhaps you're even here to solve the next Y2K. Of course, I'm standing here on behalf of GEWIS to congratulate you on your hard work and perseverance. Finishing a master's degree is not easy, and GEWIS has tried to support you. Perhaps you used one of our trainings on planning, or on giving a presentation. Perhaps you visited one of our lunch lectures to orient on a possible career path. Perhaps you even started your job because of us. Or maybe you gave some feedback at one of our roundtable discussions, because quality of education is, of course, important. All of this is completely impossible without the help of our active members, some of which are in this room, receiving their well-deserved degree. And I would like to actually thank one member in particular, Erik. Erik was the secretary of Supremum from January 2019 until November 2021. And Supremum is the committee which writes our magazine. As a matter of fact, Supremum is older than actually our association by 15 years. Most importantly, for the members at least, he built the interface for the Infima page. Infima are weird quotes of our members, which a list of is always included in every edition of Supremum. Perhaps an infimum about Erik gives a good view of what infimum is and who Erik actually is. So I had to translate this because it was in Dutch, but I hope the point still comes across. It was a rainy day at what they refer to de tafel. And Erik mentions that, well, I believe I might have found a loophole which allows me to take more courses than I am technically even allowed. And Thijs responds, well, this is quite a casual conversation for a group of nerds. So yeah, clearly a devoted person to both his studies and to our association. I would like to thank you for your contributions. As all of you are now alumni of our department, you're also more than welcome to join ADA, the recently founded alumni association of our department. And if you are interested, you can go to ada-alumni.nl. Ladies and gentlemen, the only thing left for me is to congratulate you and all the people sitting here again with the wonderful achievement that this may only be a stimulus for the rest of your life, such that you can achieve anything that you want to achieve. Thank you very much.
Dear Masters of Science, with reference to the words of the previous speakers and on behalf of the Department of Mathematics and Computer Science, I would like to congratulate you and your families on your degree. I wish you every success and good fortune in your future career. Your academic title also comes with responsibilities towards society. Therefore, I will now read out the Code of Conduct. The scientific degree of Master involves duties as well as rights. As a holder of this degree, you are committed to standards of scientific integrity, trustworthiness, intellectual honesty, openness, independence, and societal responsibility. These standards are described in more detail in the Netherlands Code of Conduct for Research Integrity and in the Eindhoven Code based on it. You also have duties towards society. You must be clear about the boundaries of your own expertise, and you must communicate honestly and independently about the results of your work, including potential risks associated with it. You are committed to ethical codes for research and design involving human subjects or animals. Dear relatives and other supporters, our photographer will now make some pictures of the candidates. And if you want to take pictures as well, please also come forward. We therefore kindly ask you, the others, to leave the room and wait outside for congratulating the candidates. Drinks and bites will be served at the lounge up the stairs. Thank you for joining us in this diploma ceremony, which I hereby close.
Yeah, I think so.